Hello, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Can everybody hear me? If you were in yesterday's live stream, I was yapping for about 5 minutes before I saw comments in the chat that no one could hear me. So I just want a thumbs up, just one thumbs up that you can hear me. Good stuff. All right, great. That's a start. That's a start. Good stuff. But if you missed yesterday's live stream, it was about the UK case of Trevor Farthing, who has been missing for over 7 years. And the case is just 18 miles away from me. So go and check that out. If you're from the UK and you've never heard of Trevor's case, it's fascinating, intriguing, but so sad. So sad. But today, I was actually going to do Delphi today. I wanted to talk about the unspent round. So I may do that tomorrow. And I wasn't expecting to talk about Jay Slater again because Jay was found, sadly deceased. For those that followed the case closely, it was absolutely nuts, insane. The amount of rumours, speculation, theories, it was wild, absolutely wild. Jay went missing. He's actually from Oswaldtwistle in my county, the great county of Lancashire, but over the east side of the county. I'm in the south. And he was over on the Spanish island of Tenerife for a music festival. And then on the morning of June 17th, he... early hours of the morning of June 17th, he'd gone to this tiny little village called Masca, which was like 20 odd miles away from where he was staying, with these two guys that he'd met at the music festival. And then he left there and just disappeared. And then 29 days later, he was found deceased in a ravine that all, common sense led you to believe that he would be where they found him, but it just did not stop. It did not stop. It was insane. But finally, Jay's body was repatriated to the UK and they held a funeral. So the funeral was held on the 10th of August. So I didn't expect to talk about Jay's case again. However, The Sun have been posting for the last few hours. They've been posting video after video after video with clips from Debbie, Jay's mother, and Zach, Jay's brother, and an interview. And news channels annoy me. They annoy me because they don't just post the interview in its completeness. They split it up into little clips and then start sandwiching pieces together, and it becomes it becomes crazy to follow. So I'm just going to play through two of these videos that The Sun have put online, and they're only short. Each one's only short because it gives me a good discussion point, and a discussion point that loses me subscribers every single time I talk about it. People think I'm being holier than thou, or that my opinion is greater than everyone else's, and everyone else's, can just go to hell. And that's not my intention at all. It never has been my intention, even if it sounds like it. It's not my intention to rubbish other people's theories or to berate people for believing certain things. But having followed many cases and covered many cases now on this channel, it's a recurring theme that it upsets me, but it also angers me in equal measure when people launch into theories that blame families of missing people particularly, or families of people who have been murdered. But it's usually missing people where, someone's missing for a period of time, where this kind of online trolling perforates everything. It just percolates through the entire case. And it's I think it's been worse in maybe recent years, and it's worse now than it's ever been. And I think the bulk of the problems don't come from YouTube. I think the problems come from TikTok, honestly. As someone who doesn't post on TikTok very often, I'm just going to blame. I'm just going to blame another site. But YouTube has its fair share of, the spreading of theories that just are very, very harmful to the families of missing people, and run contrary to common sense, run contrary to any evidence that we've got in the case. And that certainly happened in Jay's case. It was something that, I mean, it was, look, it wasn't helped. It wasn't helped by the mainstream media. The mainstream media proliferated as many of these theories as did social media. I'm certainly not blaming social media and then saying the mainstream media did nothing. The mainstream media did a lot. Like, it was very similar in a way to what happened in Nicola Bulley's case, where we had, a missing woman who, this happened in January last year, again in this county, Lancashire. And Nicola went missing after taking her dog for a walk in the winter, 27th of January of last year. And it was obvious that Nicola was in the river. It was absolutely obvious, because her dog, Willow, Springer Spaniel, was found by the river. The dog was there where Nicola fell in the river. But I'm still very, very much in the minority. People still make videos. People still talk about Nicola's case. It took 23 days for Nicola to be found in the River Wyre. And in those 23 days, and then for a long time afterwards, people just don't believe. People do not believe that Nicola Bulley drowned. So it was all the same kind of nonsense, blaming the family, blaming friends, and with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. And in Jay's case, I just got flashbacks of Nicola Bulley, massive flashbacks of Nicola Bulley. Sadly. So we're going to talk about that. And it's an interview with Debbie and Zach. Zach's there, but he doesn't speak very much, but it's mainly Debbie. And she's talking about how it felt. And it's just so sad. So we're going to get into that shortly. I'm going to say a few hellos first. My little intro went a little bit longer than I thought, but anyway. CW's helping a pensioner with their jungle. Ooh. Nice work. Hello, Rightfield. Louise, Lorraine. Purple AJ's heading home. Hi, Steph. Purple AJ's gifted 10 memberships. All right, am I able to go back? No, in the chat. Let me just see. Yes, I am. All right, so we've got Shushana, Star Winters, Berlin, Tammy, Kelly, Queen Bee, Celtic Girl, Cookie, Lovely Lyrics, and Smashing the Patriarchy. Interesting name. Thank you so much, Purple AJ. Once again, gifting 10 memberships. So you guys, please do thank Purple AJ. Absolute superstar. Gives loads and loads of memberships. We've definitely got so many more green jackets in the chat than we would have otherwise. Absolute superstar. Lorraine, hello. Oh, I got to see your grandson's first smiles this morning. Oh, that's sweet. Hi, Mike. Kelly. Who else have we got? Christine, Farm Girl, Izzy. Oh, Lizzie. No, Izzy. Oh, dear. I need glasses. I so need glasses. Only Grands, hello. Devil Doll, Kathy, Nanaby, Sue, Star. Excited to catch you live. I've been live a lot this week. We're going to do a members live soon. I want to just chill out and do like a fun members live. And I've also got a plan for bringing back Crime Story Sunday. So if you're a fan of Crime Story Sunday, which I used to do over on my other channel, my second channel, Michelle Walks, and at the new year, at the beginning of this year, I said, right, I've got a plan for bringing back Crime Story Sunday, because I used to do it every Sunday night. It was a premiere every Sunday night, 8 p.m. UK time, different case every single week. And I did it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I got lax and I stopped doing it. And then at the weekend, at the new year, I said, right, I've got a plan. I'm going to do Crime Story Sunday every other week. We're going to do a members live 1 week. We're going to decide, we're going to vote on what case to do for Crime Story Sunday the next week. And I did it for a little while and then I just stopped. The reason is they take so long. The videos take so long to research, to film, to edit. But I've got a plan. I've got a plan to bring them back. So I'm going to discuss that in the next Members Live. So for anybody who is missing Crime Story Sunday, I think the last one I did was Maura Murray. And that was months ago. It's months ago. But if you enjoy Crime Story Sundays, yeah, look forward and look out for the next Members Live, because we're going to talk about it on there. Yeah. And, I didn't cover Jay's funeral because even though it was televised, and not the funeral, they had a screen on the outside of the chapel. So mourners who weren't kind of immediate family and friends could watch from outside on a big screen. So I thought that was a nice thing to do, and the media were there outside. I didn't cover it. I thought, I felt like it should be the family's time, and honestly I didn't have anything to add other than I'm just so sorry for them. It's just horrible. But yeah, I didn't expect to talk about the case again, but like I said, this is it's a good segue into, once again, just asking people. That's all I'm doing. I'm just asking people to think before you believe wild theories. And look, when someone goes missing or someone's murdered under suspicious circumstances, the first people that the cops look at as potential suspects are those that saw them last. Often that's family members, not necessarily, but often it's family members. So, of course, there's going to be scrutiny on, in Jay's case, the two guys that Jay went to Masca with. Very unusual. And, this guy, Ayub Qasim, who we found out is a drug dealer and has got loads of links with different people, and then the investigator Mark Williams-Thomas got involved and was investigating the drug scene, and that seemed all very believable. And I covered what Mark was saying. Not that I necessarily believed everything he was saying, because he's made huge mistakes in the past. He went on record in the Nicola Bulley case saying that there's no way she could have fallen in the river. So I'm very suspicious of Mark Williams-Thomas as an investigator, even though he is an ex-cop, but he's not been a cop for 24 years. So, he's out of practice, and he's a media personality now. That's all, nothing more. So he was investigating the drug trade over in Tenerife, and that seemed to be, a viable possibility that Jay maybe was running away from a situation that he found himself in. Mark Williams-Thomas saying he had reason to believe Jay was scared when he left the Airbnb. There was no reason not to think, well, Jay could have been scared. However, what I want to talk about today is the family and the trolls that that attacked Jay's family. For why? You know, it was horrible. It was horrible to watch, because, you know, there was trolls who were saying that there was even this theory, and I've no idea where it came from, presumably TikTok, don't know, that Debbie, Jay's mother, was the sister or half sister of Karen Matthews. Karen Matthews being the mother of Shannon Matthews. If you remember back the Shannon Matthews case, if you're UK, I'm sure you'll remember the Shannon Matthews case. Little girl, 9 years old, I think she was, went missing. And it turned out that it was her mother, Karen, and then a family, kind of distant family member, who'd arranged for Shannon to be, quote unquote, disappeared so that they could claim reward money. And it was this theory that Debbie was the sister of Karen Matthews. I have no idea where that came from. No idea. Things like that, sending nasty messages, telling Debbie that she'd never see her son again. I mean, just awful, really bad. So let's we've got a member thing here. Hold on. Hey, Sasha McLean, member for 29 months. Crazy busy summer. Well, you've got a lot to catch up on, Shannon. Sasha. Nearly called you Shannon then. You've got a lot to catch up on. Because yeah, I've been covering lots of things, doing lots of lives lately. But I think there's gonna be a video tomorrow. If I do Delphi, it's going to be on the unspent round. I've got some research on ballistics that I want to talk through. Yeah, Lorraine, you're right. Not Mark Williams Thomas is a showboater. Just parrots far-fetched conspiracies. Except in this case, it wasn't that far-fetched. What he was saying is, yes, there are problems with drug dealers in Tenerife. You know, certain places anyway. In the Canary Islands, Balearic Islands, you know, mainland Europe, where you've got lots and lots and lots of young people, and the dealers have cashed in, and there's a lot of violence that occurs as a result of it. People fall foul of these dealers, and it was very believable that Jay may have got himself into a situation that he couldn't get out of. And for whatever reason, we don't know, and we'll never know why Jay left that Airbnb. We'll never truly know why he left that Airbnb. However, that's not really what I'm getting at here. I'm getting at the people who just ripped into the family. Like, why are they not searching? Why are they not, you know, and Warren, Jay's dad was. Warren and Zach were out there. They were out there searching. I don't understand why it became why they became subject to so much hate. It was obvious none of them were involved, but it didn't stop people from attacking them, and it didn't stop people from thinking that they were involved, that it was some kind of setup to get reward money, or to get GoFundMe money, more likely in this case. And that Lucy and Brad were in on it with Debbie, and it was very, very convoluted. The stories became very, very convoluted, and it was obviously untrue. But anyhow, let's play the first clip here. Okay, so the Sun's YouTube channel, they've got at least 5 videos out of this interview, but I'm just going to play through 2 of them. So let's listen in. And the links to these two videos that I'm going to play are in the description box. Debbie said Lucy set up the GoFundMe without her knowledge. You see, I don't know. I don't know. Forensics missed something very vital in this case, and that is cell changes in the body. They wouldn't have even looked due to the area it was found. I don't know what you mean by that, Louise. Like, what's, of course there's going to be cell changes in his body. He was out there 29 days. So I don't really know what forensics you're talking about. But he was frozen on the boat. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No. Prove it. Prove it. Okay, let's play this. Let me know you can hear this all right.
Dear Miss Duncan, why bother to go to all that fuss for a young man who was a druggie and behaved so badly in court, laughing and joking? What will you do with all that money foolishly donated by idiots who respond to the begging GoFundMe? Stupid, no doubt, we will ever be told. Everybody wanted, Jay's story. I just I weren't aware of what were going on, like back here. I weren't aware of what were going on. I would have sat in a room in Tenerife getting terrorised by, trolls, just calls. We know where Jay is. He's done this. He's done that. All these videos that were going around with, voice, like girls screaming Jay, and he's been stabbed on a beach, and oh my God, the stories, they were just unreal.
And that was very believable to a lot of people. There was a video that you couldn't make out any of the figures who were there, and you didn't know when it was filmed. You didn't know whether the sound of it, like a girl screaming Jay, was connected to the video, whether it had been voiced over later. It did come out that footage was old, but loads of people believed it. Loads of people believed that was true. And it wasn't. It just wasn't. And yet those that propagate these theories are rewarded for it. They're rewarded by views. They're rewarded by, if they're a monetized channel, the more views you get, the more ads play on your videos, and the more money you make. Now, I don't know how you make money on TikTok, because I only have a very small TikTok account. But if you're a large TikTok channel, you can make money there as well. So people who spread these theories that, that play into this public demand for salaciousness make a lot of money off it. And the only way it's going to stop is if people start to think critically and challenge this type of content, and just don't watch it. Basically, just don't watch it, and then it will slow down. Look, this is timely, actually, because yesterday, some of you will have seen my community post. 15-year-old Angel Turner was found alive and safe. Now, we don't know anything about the situation. We don't know whether she'd run away. We don't know whether someone had abducted her and the police have found her. We don't know any of that. None of it. But Angel's case didn't get very much media because the police didn't speak. The police didn't do a press conference. This is West Virginia, where apparently West Virginian cops are very closed down. They don't give the public anything. So there was very little by way of mainstream media. But I was watching a couple of Facebook groups, and Angel had been missing for 2 weeks. And these Facebook groups were getting more and more and more salacious and arguing, just arguing. And there was some people blaming Angel's dad. And there was absolutely no evidence whatsoever that Angel's dad had done anything to her. Yet people were happy to talk about the fact that he had a criminal record, not completely unrelated from a long time ago. But because he had a criminal record, well, he must have murdered her, or he must have sold her, or he must be involved. So I'm glad she was found when she was, because it was just about to start revving up. It was just about to the point where the Facebook groups were going to spill over into YouTube content. I could see it. I could see how it was going, and yeah, all right. So I'm glad that she was found when she was, not just because it's great that we now know she's alive and she's safe and she's going to get all the help she needs to get over whatever trauma she experienced. But we see it time and time and time again. The families get ripped into. We've seen it with Sebastian's case recently. We've seen it with, that's still ongoing. We saw it with really strongly in Athena Strand's case. The little 7-year-old who got run over and then abducted by a FedEx driver or an Amazon delivery driver. I forget which firm he worked for, who then murdered her. But within hours of that case, like becoming known, like the missing persons thing coming out for Athena, because the stepmother was the last person to see her, it was insane within hours that the stepmom had done something to Athena. But I mean, look, in many cases, it is a family member. In many cases, it is a partner or a boyfriend, girlfriend. In many cases, it is. But when there's no evidence pointing that way, people will still make that narrative because it's salacious, it's easy content, and people lap it up, unfortunately. And this is exactly what's happened here in Jay's case.
I can't even describe the kind of human beings that they are, really. To sit and go through to all that trouble, all that effort to just rip me apart by trying to say that, you know, I mean, oh, he's in a hall, he's chained up, and just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, that the torment that I've had to go through and that I'm still going through. I got I can't even remember what it on the WhatsApp message. Yeah. A WhatsApp message. You'll never see your boy again. He owes me all this money. And I thought, well, what is going on here? We've only just arrived in Tenerife, and
yeah. So they, when they found out that Jay was missing, the family got on a plane and went straight to Tenerife. And as soon as Debbie arrived, like literally touchdown, turn her phone on, and she gets this WhatsApp message for some random person saying that, you know, you're never going to see Jay again. He owes me loads of money. And then that spread into, well, they're raising GoFundMe money to pay this ransom. Crazy.
Like, what the hell? But I mean, I wanted to believe that he'd been chained up, because at least that way I knew that he was still breathing somewhere. I wanted to believe he'd been kidnapped and he were being held, because I thought, well, you know, he's alive somewhere. You know, anything. He was still breathing. That was my, as horrible as it were. The first night, second night, I said to Zach, I said, there's a pen there and a pad. I said, we'll start writing these numbers down. Within, what, half an hour? We had a full page. And then obviously, because I have WhatsApp, they were ringing me on WhatsApp, sending me images on WhatsApp and videos on WhatsApp. The ones that look like Jay, that he's got something wrapped around his neck, that he's all beaten. I mean, somebody got sent a video and somebody sent it to the Spanish police, actually, of a young lad being beaten. The Spanish police actually did act upon that, but it wasn't Jay.
Oh, they tracked it down there. Like 10 years ago in Russia.
Yeah, they ended up tracing it.
Down,
yeah, it's like these people kept frantically trying to contact me to say go to the beach. There's a video of somebody digging a hole on the beach, and it looks like they've dragged a body into this hole. And
why would you contact a missing person's mother to talk about this nonsense? If you truly believed that, you know, there was somebody burying a body on the beach, you'd call the cops. You'd call the cops. Surely. The only time, you know, if you were genuine, if you were absolutely genuine, that you had a video or you'd been sent a video of somebody being stabbed or somebody burying a body on a beach, you call the cops, not the family. Why would you contact the family? So, yeah, the police did trace where this stuff was coming from. The police did trace the video that did the rounds. The police did investigate. So, yeah, we know that those things weren't anything to do with Jay. We know that for a fact. Nothing to do with Jay.
Honestly, you just wouldn't believe the stuff that we got sent. You know, and you're thinking, oh my God, and you're watching it. You know, I mean, Spanish police did give us a private number to WhatsApp anything that we thought relevant. Probably kids, you know, like young kids. I mean, you could tell weekend.
It's not all young kids. Sadly, it's not all young kids. The people who are making the content based on all of these salacious rumours are not young kids. They're not. The people who were talking about it on YouTube and TikTok were not young kids. Now, maybe a lot of people who believe it and then share it are young kids, but sadly, the content creators are not young kids. What life must you have to want to do that to a family? Is the money that you make from your content so important to you that you will basically rip apart a family in order to make that content? why not make a little bit less money and cover cases in an ethical way? Why not do that? That's what I've opted to do. I make less money than I could make way more money if I did salacious videos and I followed every conspiracy theory and I just left my ethics at the door and just went for it. I could make probably 3 times, 4 times. I've no idea how much more money I could make, but it would be a lot more than what I make currently on YouTube, because my videos get a fraction of the views of those that want to spread this kind of stuff around. And then that's where I get attacked and people unsubscribe, because they say, oh, you're just jealous, or you're just smarting because your videos don't get as many views as other people's. No, it's about the morality of it. It's about how immoral are you prepared to be in order to make a quick buck. And that's what upsets me and angers me about the content creators. But those that follow it, those that believe it, those that share it, you're just as much to blame as the content creators. And what it takes for the audience is critical thinking skills, to be able to sit back and think, well, okay, what evidence is there to support that person is saying? And if you're not sure, then don't spread it. If you don't know, don't spread it. I don't know what else I can say, really. Is it worth it? And the lowest of the low are people who were contacting Jay's family, like they did with Nicola's family, like they do with every family. And they send and they get nasty. Now, those people are not making money. Those people who are, messaging Debbie on WhatsApp, they're not making money. They're literally doing nothing but spreading hate. They're doing nothing but trolling. And yeah, probably a lot of them are young kids, but still. It's not helped by mainstream media either, I have to tell you. It's not helped by mainstream media.
And came, and it was like, obviously they weren't at school. But I think if I'd have took every single one on board, I'd probably be in a bloody locked up in a padded cell by now. There were one that got reported, but it was.
I mean, look, writing her letters. Why would you go to the bother of writing her letters? That's so sad. What life must you have?
Just a young kid who lived miles and miles away. And I've got the letter there, and I just think, is there any point now? Just loads of messages, just making his own story up, really, about Jay, that he'd been murdered, and he made out that it were him that had
pushed him.
Yeah. I'd love to be a law against what people have done to our family. I would absolutely love it. Something needs to be done, because it was just vile. I would like to pursue, definitely, yeah. I just don't know how people can just get away with destroying people. I mean, whoever thought it were a good idea to start all these pages, Facebook pages, Jay Slater missing, Jay Slater discussions, Jay Slater this, Jay Slater that. They just, do they not have jobs? I don't know. How?
Well, for a lot of them, it is their job. However, look, I don't want to stop people discussing cases. You see, this is a problem. It's a very fine line that if you stifle, like if social media did a massive crackdown on the content that they allowed, like Facebook groups, for example, that are discussing missing people, they would be doing overall, as a as a genre, they'd be doing it a disservice, because social media can be a massive force for good. Because there's, someone goes missing, and if the amount of people who can share missing persons flyers on their own social media, or if they do have a channel or an account on YouTube, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, can be a massive force for good. No one should be wanting that stopped. No one should be wanting that stopped. But it's the people who abuse that system, not only for monetary gain, but because they just see it as funny. They see it as, I don't know. They've clearly never had someone go missing in their own family. I have. I know what it feels like. They've never experienced someone in their family dying, or else surely they'd realise the pain that they're causing. And I hope they never have to experience that kind of pain. No one should ever have to experience that kind of pain. But then at the same time, I think those that are the most virulent, well, maybe they should have. Maybe they should have a taste of their own medicine, and maybe karma will find them eventually. Who knows? But it is a fine line. It's a fine line. I don't want to stifle social media discussion on missing people. It just has to be done in a way that is ethical and that is sensitive to the fact that there is a family here who is going through an immense amount of trauma. So I don't know. Yeah, where's Mark gone? Yeah, where's Mark gone? Probably onto his next case. He was filming for a documentary. That's what he was doing. That's what his investigation was. Now, if you're not in the UK, you might not know this, but one of the news channels here in the UK, Channel 5, like, I don't have a TV, so I don't watch telly, but Channel 5 were actually filming a documentary, and Mark Williams-Thomas was their investigator, but they pulled it at the last minute. Like, it was on the schedule on Channel 5, apparently. As I don't watch TV, I'm only going off what I've heard, but Channel 5 pulled it at the last minute. So I don't know why. I don't know why they pulled it, but they did. So whether it's because Jay had been found, and they'd had the autopsy in Spain, and they had the autopsy in the UK, and there was nothing to all of these theories. There was no evidence whatsoever for any of the theories that Mark Williams-Thomas was talking about. Yes, there's a massive drug problem in Tenerife, but was it directly relevant to Jay's disappearance? Well, no, there's no evidence for that at all. Why Jay left that Airbnb is a question we'll never know the answer to. But the fact is, he wasn't murdered. He wasn't taken up to the top of that ravine against his will. There was no one else involved directly. After Jay left that Airbnb, there was no one else involved. And maybe Channel 5 looked at that documentary and thought, we may end up the victims of a lawsuit here if we air it. So Mark Williams-Thomas was doing that investigation for a documentary. Fact. So that's why he was doing it. So where he is now is probably lying in wait for his next case. Maybe.
How do they find time to do these things? It's shocking. the money is still...
Yeah, Devil Doll, Mark Williams Thomas, I think you mean fueled. You said fouled, but fueled the fire. He did. He absolutely did. Totally did.
Still sat there, and I'm scared of even touching it, which I were right from the beginning, and they've had to kind of reassure me that, you know, these people donated because they wanted to donate, because Jay obviously touched the hearts of the nation, and they wanted to help his family, which they have helped his family, because obviously we stayed in Tenerife for 6 weeks. We all came out, we all funded everything, because we obviously didn't know what were ahead of us. But yeah, we've had to use some for accommodation and to stay there for all that time. Getting up to the capital, to the police station, going up to the funeral place. Obviously, we've got funeral costs now. We've got the file's not closed for repatriation, as I've said. They've got a property. They've got...
So this obviously was filmed a while ago, because he was repatriated. The funeral happened on the 10th, so we're now the 19th. So this was filmed a while ago. Now, it was only released 14 hours ago. So I don't know why the Sun held on to this, because it's obviously old, because there's talking about Jay's body being repatriated. So that's expensive. That's very expensive to repatriate a body. And obviously the funeral costs. So, of course, people donated to that GoFundMe because they wanted to help the family. So, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Yes, there are GoFundMes that get set up that are complete scams. Absolutely. Total scams. But yet, GoFundMe is there. He's there for reasons like this, and it's up to people if they want to donate. If they think there's something dodgy in it, then don't donate. Simple as that. But don't blame the family for using GoFundMe money that's been raised for the things that they are actually needing to use it for. You try it yourself. Go and stay in Tenerife for 6 weeks. Get quotes for repatriating a body. Get quotes for a funeral. And see how many £1,000 that will cost you. Now, I don't remember how much GoFundMe was raised for Jay. But whatever's left over, because there's Warren, Debbie, and Zach who were there for the entire 6 weeks, and Warren and Zach were out searching up until Jay being found, obviously. So they've had to take temporary leave from their jobs, and not all jobs will pay you to. I'm sure that maybe their jobs gave them some compassionate leave, but I know that the last job I had at university, you got 5 days compassionate leave, like if someone died. I'm sure it was 5 days. Was it 5 days a year? I can't remember now. But anything else, you either have to take it off your annual leave, or they might save your job, but they won't pay you for it. So I know it's a touchy subject. I understand. I do. It is a subject I don't talk about very often, because wherever money's involved, there's always the potential for somebody to be using funds for their own personal gain rather than for the causes that it says on the GoFundMe that they're doing. So there's always that potential. There is. You got 5 days when your dad died. I think that's pretty standard. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was 5 days. So it's like a working week, isn't it? 1 week. But if you think about it, in cases like Jay's, it's not the norm, is it? It's not like some old person who dies and they were ill, so you were expecting them to die. There's no suspicious circumstances. There's, minimal paperwork in terms of there may be an autopsy, but if someone dies in a hospital, I think in the UK they have to have an autopsy if you die in hospital, something like that. But sometimes there's no need for an autopsy. Like my nan died at home and it was expected. She had cancer. She was in the last kind of days of her life, and when she died, there was no need for an autopsy. Like this is a GP came round, certified her dead, and that was that. The body was released like to the funeral place straight away. There was no hold up or anything like that. And she died on the 20th. I can't remember what day we had the funeral, but it was within 2 weeks. Like the funeral was all planned and done and everything. But cases that are outside of the norm, like Jay's case, very, very outside of the norm. I'm sure that their jobs, were very compassionate towards them, but there comes a time when you have to go back to work. And what if your work can't hold your job for you? Anyway, it's very much a side issue for me personally in these cases. It's not something I really get involved in because it is a fine line. But when people are using that against family or saying that they're raising GoFundMe money to fund Jay's ransom, or they've planned it and even Jay's in on it, and Jay's just hiding out somewhere, like taking drugs, and then he's going to magically appear once the GoFundMe money's like spent. I mean, come on now. You don't want an autopsy? Well, you'll be dead, so you won't know. Was it racism against the Slaters? No, I don't think it was racism. No, I don't think racism is involved in this case.
Things that they've kept for the post-mortem in Tenerife that we're still going to have to arrange for repatriation again. It's just I don't know when it's going to end.
Like I said, this seems to be an old interview, so I don't know why they didn't release this when it was filmed. I don't know. But all right, so this is the next one I want to play. This is just 4 minutes. So this is really sad. This is how she reacted when she found out. So there's a little bit, actually, this title's a little bit misleading because the first bit is her reacting to, the news when she found out, but then she goes on to something else. So again, like I said at the beginning, I wish news channels would just play the interview from start to finish rather than doing multiple videos and then having all these little clips, and then you think, well, I've heard that bit before, and then I don't know, there's at least 5. There's probably more. They've probably released more since I watched them. No, it's not anyone else's concern what the family spend the money on. But GoFundMe, they do have rules that, you do have to spend the money for the purpose that you set up the fund. I don't know how they can prove it in all cases, but anyhow, they do have rules.
She just said we found human remains, and we believe that it could be Jay. I can't recruit. After I just screamed. I just screamed. I can't really remember. I just screamed. I just remember just screamed. And I don't really remember what they were saying, to be honest. I don't know. I just screamed and I just said, I want to see him. Then I know that it's him, but it was impossible. And they just said, just have as much time as you want, and we were just sat in there, and then they came back in, and I can't really.
We asked if it, because they just said human remains. We just said, did they have what he had on? And they said, we don't know yet. And then the detective went out the room.
Because they hadn't formally identified him then. They just said human remains, and we believe it could be Jay. I wanted to see it, but I knew it weren't the best thing. And obviously been taken to the mortuary up at Santa Cruz.
One of the things that's been mentioned.
Right. I mean, that is really sad. I mean, look, come on, think about it. You know, if you were one of the people, and I say this with as much respect as I can muster, if you were one of the people who thought that the family were involved, regardless of what theory you believe, but you thought in some way they were involved, and that you thought Debbie was fake crying when she went on the news to, you know, ask for Jay to come back, and, you know, she wanted, you know, just a little couple of minutes to camera, and people said, oh, she's fake crying, there's no tears, blah blah blah. If you were one of those people, think about it and think, well, the next case that comes along, don't just jump, don't just assume, and don't just be a sheeple. Don't just think because other people are saying it that it must be true. Just think and just have some compassion and ethics. And if you're a creator, don't put money ahead of ethics and morality, and use your platform, however big it is. It doesn't matter whether you've got a massive platform or you've got a tiny platform. It doesn't matter. Use your platform for good. Use your platform to spread awareness. Use your platform, yes, theorize, but theorize within the bounds of the things that we actually know. It's not that difficult to stick within the bounds of the things we actually know. And if new evidence comes to light that does start to implicate people, or, you know, the cops come out and say, you know, these people are persons of interest, then by all means, then you can say, well, the family must be involved. The cops are saying that there's evidence now that the family are involved. That's fine. You know, like the Gannon Stoke case, you know, Letitia Stoke, right from the get-go, she was suspicious AF, right from the get-go. But how quickly did the police circle in on her? If you followed the Gannon Stoke case from Colorado, how quickly did the cops circle in on her, saw what everyone else saw a whole lot more than the public saw, and they set her up and they arrested her. And eventually, way down the line, they convicted her. The cops aren't stupid. But when they say, you know, we've reason to believe that there's no foul play, or we've reason to believe that this person has had an accident, or, you know, we're still looking, but there's no reason to suspect a crime, then don't invent a crime. Why do you want to invent a crime? Why do you want to invent a crime? I don't understand why people want to invent crimes, other than it's salacious and If the only tool you've got is a hammer, then the answer must be a nail. I don't know. All right, so this is just think. You know, this is a good example of what it's like. And Debbie and Zach are really brave here for coming out and speaking, knowing full well that this will create a whole new round of attacks on them. Sadly. Who's creating a problem in the chat? See, this is it, you see. Like, usually my chats are pretty respectful. You can, Peter, you can block them yourself. If there's somebody in the chat that you don't like, somebody that's winding you up, you can block them yourself. So if you're on a computer, I don't know what it's like on a phone or a tablet, but if you're on a computer, just hover over one of your comments, and then there's 3 dots that come up in the right hand side. If you click on that, then you can block them. You can block them. So you just won't see their posts. So they're still there. Other people can still see them, but you can't see them. But I don't have a problem with people expressing opinions, and people in the chat don't have to have the same opinion as me. As long as there's no abuse or nastiness going on, then, you know, that's okay. People are entitled to have an alternate opinion than me. But if there is somebody that you are annoyed by, then just block them. So you just don't see their comments. So, all right.
There was another snap thing which Jay apparently sent to Lucy, which was a snap saying that he'd stolen a 12 grand watch.
There were apparently 2 pictures of Jay.
No, I only saw one. So apparently there was 2. I don't know whether everyone else saw 2. I've no idea.
One, when you look at it, well, when I look at it as his mother, it was like, was he even conscious? He's got a pair of, it's dark, he's got a pair of sunglasses on. There's a caption across his mouth saying stolen AP watch. I don't know where that came from. There's a picture of a still of Jay with this caption about an AP watch. That's, you can see his arms up. You can't see his hand. You can see his arm. You see a little bit of his hand. There's no watch on his wrist, by the way. And then there's another, I don't know how many seconds it is, of not Jay, but a guy driving a car.
I didn't see this. Did anybody else see this? That there was a video of a guy driving a car. I didn't see that. But I chose to be very selective in what I watched, because everything was just winding me up. By the time this stuff came out about the watch, everything was winding me up. And look, it did seem, and I talked about it, I did some videos on the watch that, all right, if Jay said that he'd stolen a watch, well, okay, if Jay said it, then maybe he did steal the watch, and maybe that's why he went to Masca, and maybe the other 2 guys stole the watch from him and threatened him, and that's why he left. Or maybe Jay stole from them, and that's why he left. You know, it was very believable that there could be a stolen watch that somewhere along the line was related to the reason why Jay went to Masca and the reason why he ended up leaving, like without waiting for a bus. And Mark Williams Thomas was the one who went public with it. He was the one who talked about it. He was the one who was on mainstream media talking about it. But it was very believable. That was one of the theories that I entertained as being a potential reason why Jay went to Masca. Why would Debbie think he was unconscious? I don't know. Because the only one I saw, I don't know whether I could even find it now. The only one I saw. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. This one. All right, let me just. I'm going to have to share it with my other computer. All right. This. So, Jay, sunglasses on. I don't know whether he looks unconscious, but this is a text across his mouth. You give no context to it. Yes, because ended up getting thrown out of the me and two Mali kids just took an AP off some CUNT on way to sell it for 10 quid. That's the only one I saw. But apparently there's another one of somebody driving, which must be a video that was taken when Jay was on his way to Masca. I mean, look. And Mark Williams Thomas was meant to be working for the family. So I would be interested to know what the family thinks about Mark Williams Thomas. Not that this is an anti-Mark Williams Thomas live stream, even though I'm very suspicious of the guy. But some of what he said in this case was very, very believable. And is no doubt true. Like the investigation into the drug trade on Tenerife is no doubt, there's a lot of truth in what he was finding out. But did it link to Jay? No, there was no evidence that any of that linked to Jay. Now, we've no evidence other than what this Snapchat was. And we don't even know whether Jay wrote this, do we? I think this is what Debbie's getting at, that we don't know whether Jay actually wrote this. You know, because you think, well, Jay's not going to lie. If he didn't steal a watch, why would he say that he stole a watch? Why? But we don't know that Jay, even if it came from Jay's Snapchat, we don't even know if Jay actually wrote it. Jay might have been asleep in the car and one of the others wrote it for a laugh. I don't know. Look, I don't know. And does it matter now? Probably not. Do you think that's why he back off, or do you think the family asked him to stand down? I don't know. I'd be very interested to know what the family think about Mark Williams Thomas. Very interested. But yeah, I didn't know that there was an additional piece of footage with someone in a car. Didn't know that.
With another caption, stolen a Rolex watch. And then apparently this was...
So maybe that's where the Rolex came from, because it was all, he stole a Rolex watch. And then when this Snapchat came out, when that did the rounds on social media, then I didn't know what an AP was. I had to look it up. I looked it up on a live stream. But not a Rolex, like a different brand of watch, very expensive watch, different brand than Rolex. So loads of people were saying, look, why is the media and why are you saying that this is a Rolex when it wasn't even a Rolex, it was an AP? Well, actually, according to what Debbie's saying now, there was another piece of footage or something, another Snapchat that was a Rolex, that did mention a Rolex. So I don't know. I didn't see that. Like I said, I didn't see it. So Debbie obviously was sent that, or ended up seeing that. So there you go. That's where Rolex came from, obviously.
Was posted into a chat back in the UK, and they were all like, what the hell's, you know, what's this that Jay's just put in our group chat randomly from Tenerife? There were no other conversation, just this quick few second snap. So
that is so odd, isn't it? It's almost like someone else did it for a laugh. Like Jay fell asleep, someone else grabbed his phone and sent a silly Snapchat. We'll never know. We'll never know whether that's the case or not, will we? But no, I particularly didn't like Mark Williams-Thomas in the Nicola Bulley case. I was particularly annoyed at him in that case. Just standing there at the side of the river saying, oh, no way she could have fallen in. No, no, no. Yeah, nonsense. Absolute complete nonsense.
I have no idea what that's about, or was there somebody else sat outside of him with his phone? I've no idea.
One of the things we've touched on is the drugs trade, and people have suggested that he fell foul of a drug smuggling gang or cartel. What's your reaction to that?
That was
made up TikToks, wasn't it?
Sick people putting voiceovers and, you know, the video of him on the dance floor and, oh, he's dropped a bag of drugs, and they've had to take Jay to forfeit this bag of drugs being lost, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I have to agree. And again, a lot of people believed that story. I don't know where it originated, but apparently Lucy was a drug mule and she roped Jay into it, and then Jay lost or smoked a whole bag of drugs or something. He dropped it, and the dealers then needed payment, so they took Jay for ransom. And that's why Lucy set up the GoFundMe, so that people would pay the ransom. But she couldn't tell the cops what had actually happened, because then they'd know she was a drug mule. I mean, look, I'm sure things like that happen, but did it happen in this case? Nah. When there's a far more common sense, far more logical, obvious solution to the case. I'm just going to see if there's any new ones from the Sun. I'm curious. Because as I said, I've seen 5 different videos with let's listen to this. This is the full letter. So this is the Sun. Don't buy the Sun, by the way, but so here we've got all these. So we've got my son Jay didn't steal the 12K watch. Explains the gang attack that landed her son with something. Cruel Trolls, we've watched that one. Reveals how she reacted, we've watched that one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I said there was 5. So there's a new one. Let's watch this. Jay Slater's grieving mum reads out the vile handwritten letter sent by a troll. So this is the full read. So let's read this. Let's read this. Let's listen to this. And then I'm going to sign off. I'm not gonna dwell too much. I just wanted to really bring this to you and just say, look, you know, if you entertain these theories, please just think before. I mean, by all means, watch whatever you want. If you find that kind of thing entertaining, by all means, but just think before you spread or you share that information. And certainly, I'm sure there's no one in my chat. I'm sure there's no one who I'm speaking to right now who wrote a letter to Debbie or who sent her vile WhatsApps or vile contact with the family. I'm sure there's no one who will hear this video who did that. Those people are just vile and nasty. And I've probably blocked them from my channel a long time ago. I don't know. I mean, even if I block them, it just means that they can't type. They can still watch, but I like to think that my audience perhaps is somewhat more mature and sensible than those that write grieving mothers letters about just to troll. I hope there isn't anyway. But just think in future, you know, just think, is this likely? Is there evidence to support this? Where's this information coming from? And if I'm not sure, I shouldn't spread it. It's as simple as that. And yeah, it will lose me subscribers. It always does. But I have to voice this as somebody who tries to be responsible with the footage on the content that I put on. And look, we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've made videos of stuff that turned out not to be true. It's easily done, but you correct that mistake. You know, as soon as it becomes clear that your videos containing information that is not accurate, then you correct it. You correct it in whatever way is most appropriate. You don't just keep sharing and sharing and sharing or dig your heels in, saying, no, I'm right and everyone else is wrong. That's just not responsible. So, I don't know. Right, let's listen to this. Disgusting Jay letter.
There is so much horrible, nasty people out there. I've received a letter this morning that has come through the post with a stamp on it, and it's disgusting. And it's come from somebody who's written it, took the time to write it, who knows absolutely nothing about Jay and us. And it's disgusting. Dear Miss Duncan, why bother to go to all that fuss for a young man who was a druggie and behaved so badly in court, laughing and joking? What will you do with all that money foolishly donated by idiots who respond to the begging GoFundMe? Stupid. No doubt we will never be told. It was just a young kid who lived miles and miles away. I just think, is there any point now? And that is the first, apart from all the social media, TikToks and rubbish, that's the first time I've received something that somebody has actually sat and wrote about Jay, and it's absolutely just, I just really hope something, I know I've never thought I'd say it, but I just really hope something bad happens to some of these nasty people. I really do.
It makes you feel like that, honestly. It makes me feel like that, honestly. It makes me feel like, you know, I I don't wish ill on people, right? I've had horrible stuff that's happened to me in my life, and I don't want people to go through things I have, right? But there comes a point where you think, surely karma is going to strike some of these people down. At some point, karma is going to come for them. And honestly, somebody who's taken the time to write a letter, I don't think is a young kid, honestly. I don't know. Might be wrong. Karma is a bitch. You're right. Absolutely, it is. Totally. Strange statement from Debbie about was he even conscious in the car? Well, I think what she's getting at is, did he fall asleep with his phone in his hand? You know, like if you're dead, like remember he's been at a 3-day music festival, and you get in a car and like the movement of the car makes you feel snoozy, and maybe he nodded off, and somebody thought, I know what, let's write something nonsense to Jay's friends. How do we know? I think that's what she was getting at, that she didn't even know whether Jay had actually wrote the Snapchat that everybody talked about. So anyhow, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna dwell on this. And it's probably going to be the last time I talk about Jay's case, unless anything spectacularly new comes out. I think this will be the end, and I just hope that Jay's family can move forward, take it from one who knows that time. People say this, and it's a cliche. Time's a healer. Time does heal. It's not like you ever get over something, but you learn to live with. Your life is different. Your life will always be different, but that's your new normal, and you learn to be okay with that. That's just my experience. And life goes on, and you have to. You know, it's sink or swim. You either sink into the depth of the most horrendous depression that you struggle to ever get out of, or you choose to move forward. And I hope his family are very much the latter. I think they will. I think they are. They sound like strong people, and they've gone this far, and it's just horrible. So I hope people leave them alone. I hope the fact that the Sun have put these clips out of this interview that was clearly done at least 2 weeks ago, because like I said, the funeral was 9 days ago, so in Accrington. So I do wonder why the Sun have waited to put this out, but I hope it doesn't create a new round of nonsense. I hope so. Sasha asked me, do I have a playlist for Jay? I do. I have a whole playlist for Jay. So any case that I cover, if I do 5 videos, like this is my rule. If I do 5 videos on the same case, then they get their own playlist. So yeah, Jay Slater. So you can get it on the homepage. It's still on the homepage, or just go to playlists and you can find it in the playlists there. There it is. So view full playlist, and I've got 39 videos, including this one. So some of them are only short, like 4 minutes. Some of them are more in depth. I don't know why that one's there. Oh, I talked a little bit about Jay on that one, but it was mainly about Michael, who's still missing. Michael Freeson is still missing on Sardinia. on the island of Sardinia. Ben's been found though. Is his name Ben? I can't even remember. But his name, that young man's been found. Yeah, so start at the bottom. That was the first video I made. Start at the bottom. I think you can reorder it if you want. But yeah, all right. So I do have a playlist for Jay. Oh, you can't even see it. You can't even see it. Let me just, there we go. There we go. So start at the bottom, 39 videos, a few live streams, mainly videos, mainly recorded videos. So you can either, if you go to the channel homepage, I've still got Jay on the front of the front page. I do swap these out, like, because you can only put so many on the home page. So I swap these out, like, to the, you know, the most current cases. But then all of my playlists are in here, so you can go there. And I have a few more playlists to make. I'm going to do a playlist on Trevor Farthing. I'm going to do a playlist for him because I've got enough videos now that I've done on Trevor. So like I said, my rule is if I do 5 videos on the same case, then they get their own playlist. If it's less than 5, then they don't make it into a playlist. It's just a rough rule that I have. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for joining me, and best wishes. And I feel so desperately sad for Jay's family. Desperately sad. So thank you all. Thank you all for joining me. Thanks to the mods. I may have only had CW in for this one, who's been gardening as well. So we're a bit low on mods today, but not to worry. Thanks as always. Thank you to those that donated. Thank you to Purple AJ. Special shout out to Purple AJ, who's amazing. And welcome to the new members. And I'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.